Welcome back to Retro Wednesday. Titanium Mayor, this is Mike. Today we're going to take a look at 1992, everything made for G.I. Joe on this trip from 1982 to 1994. So, only 2 more weeks left after this, and we will have gone through the entire vintage run of G.I. Joe. This year in 1992, it was a different kind of year. Some interesting figures, some cool figures. This is where we actually got to see the Ninja Force. They kind of doubled down on some of the electronics in here and some of the gimmicks, but there are some gems in here, some cool stuff. Very little reuse, like repaints, but this is kind of the beginning of repaints we'll see in the next 2 years. Let's take a look at 1992, a pretty solid year overall. Getting into the 90s, we're going to finish this trip in 3 weeks. Coming up. All right, we're going to start out with Barricade here, and it is a bit of a challenge to get everything in here in perspective because he has this giant launcher as a backpack. You're going to see this quite a bit. They got their launchers, they'll clip to the back. This one actually slides in like so, and he could also hold it with this handle here. And, you know, it's one of those things. I still am weary about putting giant handles like that in their hands. I mean, I've pulled it off a few times, but it's interesting what goes on with this missile launcher he has here, and there it is. It launches one way, shape, or form. Doesn't launch very well. Not very well. Oh, there it goes. Anyway, there's the launching mechanism for that. Now, he does come with this helmet, and pop that off. It's red, silver. Now, we see him. He gets a repaint down the road to red. Oddly enough, I think the helmet is red on both. Where he's blue, he's repainted red. And I think that's really the only change that they make with the next version of him. He's got some gold to him, looks pretty cool. But then they repaint the gold part silver and blue, and then the helmet's silver, and they make gears. So it's a lot of reuse with this guy we're going to see coming up in the rest of the years. Kind of looks like a space suit kind of thing going on right there. Barricade seems to be a popular character from 1992. People seem to like Barricade. Next up, I'm going to show Bulletproof over here, but as you can see, we have some Cops and Crooks figures in front of you. So this is G.I. Joe's Barricade. That's Cops and Crooks Barricade. This is Cops and Crooks Bulletproof, and this is G.I. Joe Bulletproof. They reuse the names, and it's kind of interesting how they do that. They also did that a whole lot with Transformers and G.I. Joe. You know, Shockwave and all of those. Now we can take a look at Bulletproof himself. Pretty cool looking figure. And I will say this. This is another one that gets recolored down the road. And probably next year. And I like the recolored more bright yellow a whole lot better than this one. Even though this one is probably more subdued and more something that would fit in with military. But a couple of things here. First off, he does have this helmet, and it does have a microphone. Now, this is actually not the correct one. I pulled it off of a scoop. But anyway, there's this flat top hairdo. I think he's got pretty much a similar hairdo to the other Bulletproof. And then there's his... That's not his mic. His mic is actually just kind of like... just looks like a cylinder that's folded. It's... I don't know, just like a tube. It's not much of a mic. This is more detailed than the other one. It's very undetailed, the real one. Anyway, I never see these loose with a mic, and you can buy like a brand new one for $50, but I wouldn't want to spend that much money on this guy. Here is his gun. It's green, and I think all the accessories are exactly the same between the version 1 and version 2, so I don't notice any difference between the accessories. But the difference is the launcher. He has this launcher, which he can hold it, but it's kind of cumbersome. I mean, this little figure holding this giant launcher just doesn't really make sense. But the next version is going to have a solid, and it's not going to have the light up gimmick. So let's get this thing here to launch. And I don't think... See, it also lights up, too, at the same time, which is kind of cool. I don't think that these were packed with 2 missiles. Later on, as we go down through these figures, see, it actually engages the light when you put it in. When you see, like, down the road, they have 2 missiles per launcher, either in 1994 or some of it in 1993, but still in this age, there was only one missile packed in, which is kind of interesting, which makes it a little harder to track down those missiles. The later series where they all are packed with 2, it's a lot easier. Anyway, this is bulletproof. All right, so I left this little note on here. As I was collecting these, I was actually labeling them so I remember who they were. So I keep it straight because it was a mess. It was a mess trying to collect a lot of these figures and not knowing who they were. So this one is Big Bear, and he is interesting. So another one of the October Guards, and he has molded in kind of like one of these hats that you'd wear. Look like kind of something that... These are Russian characters, so we like a hat you'd wear in Russia and that kind of stuff. And then he has this launcher here, which this is an interesting kind of... We'll get to that here in just a bit, but let's look at the rest of the stuff here. He does have this gun. I just put the strap over his shoulder because he's holding this giant launcher. But that's an interesting looking gun he's got right there. And it's got that molded in strap, which I kind of wish they never put molded in straps because they break too easy. There is his backpack. Kind of cool stuff. But then we get into this launcher. And it's strange because... Let's see about launching this. It's got a missile, and it's got another missile with like a connector device underneath it. I'm not sure what the point of that is. I'm not at all sure why they did it like that. And it seems like this up top one is just like a spare for storage or something. I don't know how I got it in there. Yeah, the top one doesn't do anything really. It just kind of sits in there. This is a very strange setup for a gun. I don't get it. I really don't, but it is what it is. It is Big Bear. He's kind of a cool figure with the green and all that. Definitely looks like someone that is, well, not part of the Neon 90s. Only Neon. He's got a little bit of yellow in his missiles. Big Bear. All right, next up we have Duke. I can't remember. I didn't write it down if it was version 3 or version 4. One of those. But he is very strange. This is strange. He comes with these, like a brown dagger and then a brown gun. That's what that looks like. And then I have this all strapped on him. But he comes with this, it's a kind of a ridiculous launcher. But let's look at his hat. And there's Duke. And that's kind of like a Duke hairdo, and let's get it focused on him. That kind of sort of looks like Duke. Not exactly. Like maybe an older, more mature Duke. I use 2 of these stands because he's so awkward trying to figure out how to keep this on him. But let's take this launcher off and look at it. Now it's got a tripod. This is insane. And I put another rubber band on here to keep this from flopping around too much. But he has a seat. And then you would put him on this seat for this launcher, which, there he is. There it is. And this is pretty much what it looks like on the card art, too, is that he's riding the missile launcher. I mean, maybe I could display it like that, if I could fit it on the shelf. That might be a better way to display him. Really a strange idea for Duke. And yeah, it launches, it fires. Really weird. Anyway, that's Duke, either version 3 or version 4. Alright, next we get into General Flagg version 1. And then we're going to get into, he's got a second one that comes out where all of this kind of yellowish, creamish, yellow color stuff is white. So I think this one here, the first version is the easier one to get. And I think as they recolor them, they make less and less because they know, well, the kids already have it. And kids aren't dumb. They aren't. But less people are going to want the same figure again with a slight repaint. And only like crazy maniacs like myself are going to go after the slight repaint color because it's part of the main line. Here's his hat. It comes off. And it goes back on there. Kind of cool. And it's just kind of like he's got like a bomber jacket kind of thing going on. And some green pants. So pretty normal looking Joe. And there's his gun. It's kind of normal looking. And then if you want to pose him where he's kind of holding on to this little handle here, it's a thing he can do. He'll do that while his missile launcher is launching a missile. Now, if you had a rubber band you put around these two tabs and connect it to here. And then you push this back and it would launch this missile. And there it is. This is so here's the way I collect. This figure comes with a slight repaint and the same exact accessories. So I went ahead and collected the other one. You'll see the next one in a future video, but I didn't see the point of getting a second launcher, and it just takes up space. That's the way I think of collecting, and maybe people will agree. But I have a different, kind of a slightly different color variation on something that comes up here in just a bit. This is General Flagg. All right, next up we got Gung-Ho, and I believe he's version 3. And he comes with quite a bit of stuff here, and I basically have the flag held on by a rubber band. I do that a lot. And he looks pretty interesting. Kind of a cool figure. They use this body mold and repaint it. And then in the 90s, we get even a different version. Like the later 90s, like 98, I think, we get a different version in early 2000s. But there he is, kind of ammo belt on him, kind of a green vest. One thing that was pointed out by other reviewers on this is that his tattoo shrunk. And that's not how tattoos work. They shrunk the tattoo down. If they were going to put the tattoo on, they should have just printed what would have been exposed from the original tattoo. That would have made more sense. Anyway, still kind of a basic looking Joe. He's got a sweatband headband on there. Oh, yeah, this was my sticker telling me who this was, because we don't all know. It was a mess back then. The 90s stuff, I just didn't know right off the top of my head. Like, oh, yeah, that's who that is. So he's got this ginormous gun right here. That is kind of cool. I mean, of course you'd expect him to have a big gun. And then the next version they come out with this has the same big gun. I think everything's about the same, except the shirt's a different color. Now this is got a blue launcher, and I think mine's a little bit faded. And then it's interesting too, because we're going to start seeing that if you have a blue missile, it has a blue switch. And then yellow, yellow, and orange. And I'm going to show that as we come up on it. But there it is, just a launcher. Nothing really all that special. And then a really good American flag. This is a really nice flag. It still looks brand new. It looks really good. It is a nice flag. And I like the way they made it. I like the material they use. The only problem is you got to have some heat on it to get it straight. But then a flag would kind of curve. A normal flag would. So I kind of leave it like that. Still, it's kind of cool. This is Gung-Ho version 3. And one of my favorite characters. And up next is another favorite character. Okay, so this is Roadblock, the recalled version. So recalled Roadblock. So when people say, well, who's the recalled Roadblock? It's this guy. And why was he recalled? Because he had one of these ripcord flying contraptions that he came with. And it's, I guess it was going to hit the kid in the eye or something. This is a giant gun he comes with. And it's interesting. I think he's got an earring in over there. And he's kind of changed up his facial hair a little bit. He just looks a little bit different, but you can still tell it's him. But he's got a different look to him. And he looks pretty like a standard Joe. Pretty much like a standard Joe. Just another version of a great character, Roadblock. And yeah, it's too bad that he was recalled. We get another version of him, pretty much the same figure, but different coloration down the road. And that one would be, I think, number 4. Now this one's number 4, and the other one would be number 5 or something along those lines. Anyway, they do make them again, but they make them with different accessories, and he doesn't have the pull string thing where he has a flying propeller that comes at people. But let's look at this real quick, and I don't have all this set up just right, but this is the Fun School version, which the coloration was set up to match almost exactly. It's a pretty good coloration, except the accessories they come with are just goofy for the Fun School version. But that's where I got this coveted gun. It's hard to get that gun. Anyway, the recalled Roadblock, they had to get all those back. Next up, we got Wetsuit version 3. We got the original wetsuit, then we got the Brazil missions wetsuit, and now we get this one, which I'm just going to say it. It's a cool looking figure. And I got to say that not everything from the 90s got me super excited about collecting the 90s stuff, but I really had fun collecting this guy. Number one, he was cheap, like 12 bucks. So it wasn't bad. It's a cheap figure you can track down, mostly complete. There is his head. Which I haven't really kind of compared the heads, but you don't really get to see his face in the previous version. But that's with the helmet on. And then he's got these flippers. So it's like next generation flippers. They're not the same as the older ones. They got next generation kind of flippers going on here. Kind of black and yellow color scheme. Now he does get a reissue in black and orange. Now, I got confused collecting this guy thinking, everyone's trying to pull a scam on me. Shouldn't he have yellow missiles? He even has the yellow launcher here. Where's the yellow missiles? So I looked up and I saw a carded one, and he does indeed come with the orange missiles. I think he does come with 3 orange missiles. One's loaded and the other 2 are spares. And then he can kind of boogie board on this, which I'm not going to do. But the next version comes out, it's orange. Here's the weird part. The one that's recolored into orange has an orange trigger. So the launchers aren't exactly the same, but the missiles are exactly the same. So it's really strange what they choose to recolor, what they don't recolor. But this is a cool figure. There's that weird looking gun of his. Really cool. And it's interesting too when they recolor it to orange. And I do think, as you see with all these, the secondary or the third or the fourth recolor, they make in much smaller quantities and are harder to find. Anyway, Wetsuit version 3. Next up we have Wild Bill version 2, a big departure from just the green. And I've got to say I'm not 100% sure if I think the figure looks cool, but I don't know if this feels like Wild Bill at all. But he does have the glasses and he has the cowboy hat. My first interaction with this figure was the fact that I found online, I saw this as a cowboy hat. And I thought, would that work for Bionic 6 JD or IQ? And no, it doesn't. So there's the answer for that. No, it doesn't. But he has this interesting little gun here. And, okay, was it a musket? What am I supposed to call that? And then he has this dagger that goes in his backpack. There's his backpack. So he's got some cool little accessories here. And he's got a launcher. And it launches. So you just kind of push down on it and it launches. I just don't want to lose any of these. And I think he only originally came with one. It was a little hard to track down all of his parts. But the good thing is that they reissue him again with, instead of blue, I think he's got like white pants or white shirt. I don't have that one out. I will be showing that next year when that one pops up. Next week, technically. But all the accessories are exactly the same from what I understand. Anyway, this is Wild Bill version 2. We'll see version 3 pretty soon. All right, we've got Cutter version 2, and is Cutter going to still drive the whale? Well, whether he does or not, he has a giant launcher over here we're going to get into looking at. And looking at this guy, he's got a lot of similarities to the first version. Still has that hat on, got the vest, got some blue pants. He's got something about with these lower stocking kind of things that wrap around the shoe. This thing here, I forgot what they even call it, but it's I think it's supposed to be a giant flashlight. I really do. I think they called it a flashlight, and it clips into here, which is kind of interesting. So there is that. And then there's his gun that he comes with, so that's kind of cool. And I think they even redo him again. We get another version of him in this mold, recolored. Now, where's his stand? Here's his launcher. Does it light up? I can't remember. Yep, his launcher lights up. So there it is. Now this one's a little different because it has a piece of string on it, and it's connected to kind of a grapple kind of thing, which is interesting. Which it did its job because it grabbed another figure along with it when I was taking it out just to show. But when you reload these, wherever the trigger is, just put the notch facing the trigger, and that's how they reload. And of course you get the light too. So cool stuff. Also comes with this little tripod, just like, I think it's the exact same mold for the tripod that we got with Duke's, except this one's in white, and can be a pain tracking down these little parts. The figure itself isn't really an expensive figure, but then trying to get all these little parts with it is what makes it a problem. This is Cutter version 2. I think we have a 3 coming down the road. All right, we're into Mutt Junkyard, Mutt version 3, and as I can gather here, this is what's going on with the guy. So let's take a look at him, and he looks quite interesting. He's got this hat on, and so instead of having a removable helmet, he's got a hat that's just permanently molded in. Looks like he's got like a microphone molded into, so they're learning from past mistakes. He's got a vest on, which is probably bulletproof. He comes with this little gun. Now, I don't think this is the correct gun. I really don't, but it was close enough, and I had it, and so I'm just living with it. And he does come with Junkyard. And I don't think Junkyard, and I think this one has like a brown stripe on the bottom. I'm not sure if they're all supposed to have that. Again, I need to look that one up. But I don't think he comes with the leash. So I think that he just kind of runs wild now. Like they just let him go ham crazy on anyone. Now he does come with this launcher here, which I can't remember. Did I get this thing to light up? Yeah, it lights up. So it's like a net capture launcher as kind of something. When I first got this, I thought it went with Jurassic Park, and that's why. And then when I found out it went with Joe, I was like, oh, it goes with Joe. But it flies out, and theoretically, it's going to be like a net capture kind of thing. But you know, that stuff never really worked well for me. It's good in theory, but not practical. And it doesn't even work as a backpack, which it would be a huge backpack. So anyway, this is kind of cool, but not at the same time. This is Mutt version 3, because remember they had him with Slaughter's Marauders, right? Alright, one thing I failed to mention was that they're part of DEF. So, Bulletproof, the Mutt we looked at, Cutter, and now Shockwave version 3. They're all part of the Drug Elimination Force. So it's like a whole other subgroup. But it's not really a subgroup. They just gave it a name just to give it a name. But it is a subgroup, but it's not like subgroup of repainted characters. Anyhow, there is his helmet, his hat, goes over it. That's kind of cool. And Shockwave, we never really got to see his face before because it was covered up. Kind of looked like he was a bit of a ninja. Now he's not. Anyway, he's got a bulletproof vest on, of course, and he's got some other, like a gun and a few other things on him. I like the blue. It's kind of a nice little blue that's going on there. Blue and some black color scheme. He does have this gun right here, which is, oddly enough, it is kind of feels small. Feels for like a full-size kind of machine gun looking thing. It looks small. But anyway, there is that. Interesting looking figure. But he comes with this tiny little tank. I actually think this is another one. He's supposed to be able to ride it. I'm just not going to make him ride it. I'm going to let him maintain what little dignity he still has. And I'm not going to make him ride his little mini tank. But it comes with this kind of a... It's kind of like bust down a door when it launches. And it lights up. And by the way, none of this stuff worked when I got it. It all had to take it all apart. Put batteries in it. Clean contacts. Clean off 90s stuff. The batteries are all going dead by now, so you have to put new batteries in it. You got to clean up contacts and all that. But anyhow, there this is, and yeah, that's Shockwave version 3. Next up, we got these two Eco Warriors, Barbecue and Deep 6 version 3. All right, let's get into Barbecue. What they say is version 3 also. I'm at a loss here. I can't think of Barbecue version 2. Anyway, here he is. There's a clear yellow face visor. They're in their hazmat looking suits, and they both have their color change paint that's permanently color changed. So it is what it is. He is got the classic push this, and it's a squirt gun kind of thing. I like the red. I like how they kind of stuck with, gave Barbecue his colors, but they ramped it up to super ultra brightness. Pretty cool, interesting figure, though. Nothing really all that crazy, outlandish about him. And I kind of like that. Now, crazy and outlandish would be talking about the dolphin in the room. So how often do you have a dolphin in the room? Well, you do every day now if you have this figure. Now, people want stupid money for this dolphin. What it does, it's soft and squeezy, and you can suck up some water and then squirt it. Or you can squirt it on him or squirt it there. So it's all about squirting water and changing the color paint, which, what a waste now. But here is the Deep 6, version 3. And I would not take this mask off because the pins, the tabs are so thin. They break if you try to put them back in, if you don't put them in exactly right. But yeah, kind of cool looking figure overall. Is very Neon 90s. So this is where Neon 90s gets their reputation from stuff like this. But, I mean, nobody complains about the Neon Dolphin or the 90s Dolphin. Well, I got a killer whale to keep the Dolphin company. Now they have friends. Anyway, Eco Warriors for 1992. All right, getting into the Supersonic Fighters. Last year, which was a week ago, I was talking about Sonic Fighters and referred to them as Supersonic Fighters. No. These are the Supersonic Fighters. So last week's were just plain old boring Sonic Fighters. And what's the difference? Well, their backpack is souped up with something special. Let's start with Falcon. Okay, Falcon appears to be just a repaint of the former figure, but in more of sort of a desert vibe going on right here. So the figure himself is kind of cool. It'd be kind of fun to have him. I would have been perfectly fine, me personally, if they would have just put him back out with all of his standard gear. But no, he got all kinds of different stuff. He has this weird gun that has like 2 barrels and then like maybe it's a launcher on the bottom or a flashlight or something. And then it hooks around his arm. Like it definitely has a missile launcher on there, because why else would it need to hook around his arm? That is so weird. And then he has this gun here for whatever reason. So that is it. And then he has a propeller so he can fly away. And then there's buttons on the back here, which of course had to work to get it all working. But it is kind of a cool effect because you can see through his backpack the lights lighting up. So that is kind of cool. Next up we have Psych Out version, I think it's version 3. Let's pull this up here. And this is insane. This figure is insane. Okay, so he has this giant backpack. It has this satellite antenna, whatever this radar looking thing is there. And then he's got electronics, and they light up. So supersonic means they light up with the electronics, I guess, and there's giant backpacks. Plus he comes with this giant, it's like stealth recon. You can hear what people are saying from a mile away or something. So that's kind of interesting too. Then he has these little things here, which I forgot what they call them, but they were clipped to his wrists before. Now they clip to his chest. Not really sure. And he has removable microphone antenna piece. So all these parts make him really, really, really hard to complete. This was not an easy figure to get complete. And it took a little bit. People want stupid money for him if he's already 100% complete. And I can see why, but on the other hand, he's really not that rare. He's just rare complete. Now we're getting into something which is kind of strange. It's rock and roll. And I don't know if I wrote down the version. I should have written down the version. 3, I think. I'm guessing 3 on him, but check him out. So he's the same mold that we got recently from the version 2. He's not the version 1 mold. And he's got this giant gun right here, which is brown, which matches this gun that clips to this. And it is what it is. Now, he still has molded in from the original mold for him to clip his gun in. But there's no gun included. See, the other one came with a gun that clipped in. But there's nothing to clip into it. So it's just got pegs for nothing. Pegs for nothing. I don't know why they didn't just include that original gun as his gun. But then we have this thing here. Now, this is actually 2 pieces. This piece here, the mount, clips to this. And then we have this gun that goes up here. And it makes noise. So that's kind of cool. And Rock and Roll's kind of lonely. He missed his old friends from the original 13 or 10. So we got Zap. You know, the dude that has no thumbs. How are you holding anything? Because every Zap figure's got broken thumbs. This guy, actually, his thumbs hold up pretty good, but they broke off a long time ago, I would imagine. Here's his hat. That's Zap. He's changed up his look, too. And not just his uniform, but his whole, how he does his facial hair and stuff. Okay, now I can't get his helmet back on. There he goes. Now he's got this giant silver laser looking thing. He's got another giant silver weird looking cannon that has a side handle. I think technically he should be holding it with this hand and it'd be on this side, but it works for me better this way. He's got some giant, I believe this stuff on the legs is to be kind of defensive in case there's a blast or something. He protects himself. Then he has this thing here. It's got some sort of little gun on the top that rotates around. And I need to change batteries in this already. The batteries are not strong enough. And I've changed the batteries on these all around, you know, within the same month. But I don't know if that comes off or not. Anyway, there are Super Sonic Fighters. Alright, so we make some rules, we break some rules. These are talking battle commanders. And with that, I'm going to include the Cobras on this one. And I'm going to kind of include the Cobras on pretty much the rest of them and then get into Cobras. But these are interesting. Let's start with Stalker. I do think this is an all-new mold. I might be wrong on that, but I've been wrong before. But he's interesting looking, kind of cool. He's got some cream-colored camo pants. Something giant going on with his lower leg there. And then he's got a beret. He's got a little gun right in there. Cool looking figure overall, just, you know, without having this backpack thing on there. Now these, I think, yeah, these are screwed in. So this bottom, the first half of the backpack's bolted in. So you have to take the backpack apart to get it off of them. So there's no real way to see much more of this figure. He comes with this giant gun here for whatever reason. And then he comes with this smaller gun here. But really, the gimmick with this guy, I mean, you should have been just fine. Just give him a standard backpack. But no. They had to compete in the 90s with this. Let's party. He's hollering at Grissom. And attack. So, there he is. Now, next up, we have General Hawk 2. Another opportunity to say Hawk 2. And here he is. That does not look like him to me, but it still looks like an awesome Joe, like just a real tough, awesome Joe. Like, you know, hey, follow me into war. Backpack has an antenna on it up here. That is hard to get, oddly enough. All right, now he has this gun right here. Looks like a sniper rifle or something like that. And then he has this other gun that looks like a revolver with a scope. And yeah, he kind of looks like a Joe. Little bit on the neonized side with that burgundy look to him. But let's hear what he has to say on these buttons on the back. Yo, Joe, eat lead Cobra and move out. Now we got into the bat, but he fell over. This was actually called Overkill. A bat leader is my understanding what he is, and he is kind of strange. Now, first of all, he does come with kind of a clear chest piece, and underneath it looks like a plus. I don't know. Looks like a first aid thing underneath it, but I'm sure there's something significant to that. He got this tiny... Is he supposed to have that gun? That looks like Destro's gun. I might have just put that in his hand. I gotta check. He does come with this gun, though. This red one. For sure comes with this red gun. And then he comes with this piece here that clips onto his hand. Because his hand is removable like Bat's. And then you could put this thing on here for whatever, whatever it is. But that's not the cool gimmick. The cool gimmick is... Sounds like he's saying Viper. Bat's attack. Destroy. So, yeah, there he is. Out of all of them, this sounds the coolest. Then we got Cobra Commander here, which I will say he is goofy looking, but he is a Cobra Commander looking Cobra Commander. The hood looks a little off, but the rest of him looks like a Cobra Commander. And he really does match the Deke animation. I think that this is the one that shows up in Deke animation a bit. Now it comes with this little gun here that gets reused a lot. Like, we're going to see it like 6 more times. But different colors too, different iterations. Then he has this launcher with 2 missiles on it, which is really weird. It took me a while to get my mind around exactly how this worked. They just tab into the sides of this thing. And yeah, so 2 missiles. They like to fall off. They have the missile's main hobby is falling off that thing. Then we have buttons. It really says fight with a... Is it a bat? Sounds like fight with a gat. Anyway, there we go. Those are the talking battle commanders. All right, let's get the electronic gimmicks behind us. Let's get it over with and move to just standard figures, make it a little bit easier on us. This one here is Major Bludd, and I think it is a version 2. Major Bludd version 2. Anyway, here is... He looks different than the original one. He's got a bunch of grenades on him everywhere, like 4 on his legs, 6 on his chest, 4 more on his arms. So that's quite a few. Plus, he has this strange-looking 2-handed laser gun thing going on here, so you can grip it with that hand. I've never been able to pull it off, by the way. And then he has this yellow double-barrel laser gun thing. Really strange. From the back... Standard noises that these make. I have trouble getting them to stand like this, so I'm going to put them away. I do want to point out that these are all removable, so all of these backpacks are removable for these guys here. Okay, looking at Road Pig. I like Road Pig, so I ended up actually getting him, and I'll show you a souped up version of him in a second, but he is pretty much the same Road Pig with the same kind of football shoulder pads there, and his hairdo and all that kind of stuff. All it's the same figure, just recolored. Now this is super ultra neon, so this is the Neon 90s at its best. It comes with a gun, and it comes with whatever this thing is. I have no idea what this thing is. And then he comes with this. Let's look at the back of him real quick. There he is. It's from the back. He's got a stand. I think he's supposed to come with a stand. I got him on an orange one anyway, whether he's supposed to or not. Here's this. Really nothing special, but it does look like a nice little control panel. But I don't know why they felt like they need to go with him like that. So I have another one. And I just really wanted to soup him up just like the original. And so I sort of did that, where he's got his orange bowcaster. You get all the orange accessories that kind of they left off of him. They all come with a figure called the Night Creeper Leader and version 1. And I also have a black, one of these cinder block weapons. I don't know what I did with it. It's around here somewhere. So I was going to put that on him too, to kind of like show a next generation of Road Pig. Anyway, Road Pig's kind of cool. Alright, let's get this back on track with the Air Commandos. And I do not have both of their little airplane jets. I just have the one for Spirit, and it's missing his gun. So it's really rough shape. I got it for $5. I said, well, for $5 I'll have it. I'll take it. I didn't really want to go after that, and I've cold stopped on vehicles. Anyway, let's look at Spirit, since we have his. He comes with this gun, but I think his was supposed to be black, and I've got one that's gray. But it's the exact same mold, and so I'm okay with it. I'm A-okay with having the wrong one, because it's instead of 30, it was like 3. So I'm okay with all of that. Now, he has this headband on that's kind of different, and he does have a molded ponytail going on right there, which is kind of cool. And he's got some green in him, and he's wearing some blue pants and some boots there. So, much different than the first Spirit we got, or the second Spirit we got. It's a whole new mold. And they do recolor him down the road, I think, for some special melloway, but I don't have that one, and I'm not really going after those kind of specialties. Now this one here is, I believe it's Air Devil, but I'll have to, if I'm wrong, I'll put that up in a graphic. But here is his helmet. He's got like molded in visor, and then he's got this giant face shield that goes over it, which is really interesting. It's kind of cool, actually. Just never really thought about that, but that's... I think the Eco Warrior should have had this instead. This would have been better. But they didn't do it, so it is what it is. Then, looking at his gun, it looks like that. I don't know what you'd call it. Just looks like a sonic kind of laser rifle. Then he's got kind of the red and black on the suit there. Looks kind of good. And a couple of different silver attachment kind of things, grenades and all that. But he is a cool looking figure, actually. And really does stand out on your shelf as an Air Commando. Next up, we're going to get the Battle Chopper figures, and I have one really bad shape, beat up blue Battle Chopper back there. We're not really going to look at the Battle Choppers. We did that last year, which was a week ago. But we are going to start with Ace. Ace version 2. Now, he comes with this helmet that comes off. I don't know if I want to mess. There it is. There's his noggin. Looks pretty good. And then he has this strange breathing hose, which is hard to get. I lucked out. No, I lucked out twice, actually. Because you need it for the other version that comes next year. Or next week, I believe. And he also comes with the same gun as Shockwave. Yes, but it's supposed to be a black Shockwave, so like the Night Force version. I just put a standard one in his hand because the Night Force ones are quite pricey. So I didn't really seem to care. But he's kind of got a jumpsuit. It's weird because you have a blue and a teal, and it's just kind of too much of the same. So I would have liked a little color breakup, but at the same time, it's just what they did. Then we get into the Heliviper. He's a hell of a good Viper, isn't he? Now, this really is just a reuse of the Viper mold, except he's got a different head. So if you look at the Viper, or the Night Viper mold with a different head, and down to the legs having pegs, and the same exact gun, except it's purple. I don't know if I can get that on the camera there, but same figure, different head. And I think the head, I think somebody told me it's supposed to be Snow Serpent or something. But I'm not going to bother taking that gun off. I got it on there. I don't want to break his pegs. And yeah, so that's a cool figure. It would be one to troop build, but he is a bit pricey because the later we get, and this was just kind of a specialty deal where they were just packed with the Battlecopter. And I don't think the Battlecopter sold very well. I mean, I don't think the kids really cared about that gimmick. Anyway, these are Battlecopters for 1992. So next we got Destro. I think he's either version 3 or version 4. And he comes with this launcher here. So let's look at this launcher. I do have one extra one of these pieces. I think it'll all still work. It came with a mask lot. I knew it wasn't mask. Now I know what it is. And it launches. It's actually quite effective. Very effective. The Avalanche vehicle has a very similar launching mechanism as this. Now, let's get into the Destro figure. His head is no longer back metallized. It's just kind of a shiny silver. And here is the gun that goes with it. It's kind of cool. Big gun. And you know what? Here it is. I'm very happy to have another version of Destro that looks pretty decent. And he doesn't really... I don't think he needs a whole lot. He's okay looking figure. The best thing about him is he's really cheap. Like, you see him going for anywhere between $3 and $10, nearly complete. So, for whatever reason, this is a good Destro that nobody seems to care about. Kind of funny. I'm going to get the Eco Warrior one out of the way. For Cobra, this is the Toxo-Zombie, and this would be like a troop builder, but they are kind of expensive, kind of on the pricey side. I do want to say that he does come with this giant bazooka, and it is the brighter green that matches them, not the darker green. Just had an extra darker green one. I stuck it on there, and I'm sure it goes something else I need. But he is kind of cool looking. This is a good figure overall. But I do want to say that they all still have that color change paint wear on them. So it's just got that same kind of problem on all of them. One of mine seems to be faded. So the brighter one's probably in the better shape. Still, it's interesting. People want to troop build this, so it's expensive. I don't want to troop build it, but I ended up with an extra one, and I'm okay with it. And my troop build is 3, so if I found one more, I wouldn't be mad either. But anyway, this is Toxo-Zombie. Next up, we have the Cobra Eel, and this is another... I gotta get better at writing the versions down. I kind of feel like it's an Eel version 2, and then the next year they come out with a version 3 that's got purple instead of blue. I think so, but then it has all different weapons and accessories. So this one, the big thing about this is this shark, where you got the fin on it, on the back, the fin up top is the launching mechanism somehow. Okay, no, this is the launching mechanism. Oh, I guess good thing I don't put too much pressure on that fin. Oh, that would have been bad, huh? And an opening jaw. So once this is fired off, the jaw can close all the way. I'm guessing is how that's supposed to go. I don't believe this came with 2 missiles. I think it still only had the 1 missile. And then he has this gun here, which kind of reminds me of the Monkey Wrench's gun, but it's not at all. It's not the same thing at all. Yeah, there he is. He has these... Now, his flippers are different than anyone else's, so he's got an all different style of flipper. And I thought I had another set of his flippers. It turns out it went to someone else. So the other dude over here has just got a stand. But pretty cool. Another one that would be a troop builder. Not really hard to get, though. Some of these 90s ones aren't too sought after. And definitely, nobody wants you if you don't stand up, bro. Eel version 2. So we've got Firefly. I believe it's Firefly version 2. And there he is. This was on my 90s shelf. Because I had a 90s shelf for like 4 years. That only had like 40 figures on it. But he was there forever. He looks pretty good. Now they do repaint him again. It's where it's gray, he's black. I think that's all that they changed. And literally the same accessories and all that kind of stuff. In the future. We'll see that in the future, Marty. Somehow you're supposed to put in some sort of that whole ripcord thing and get his top spinning. I don't have the ripcord, nor do I care. I'm not going to be spinning a top, but it's just, I only really held on to it so I can show in a video because I just didn't care. When I was looking at the 90s stuff, I was actually thinking I just want a weapon in each hand and a representation, but some of the stuff I think is necessity. I guess this would be a necessity. I don't think the ripcord really is a necessity for me for a display purpose, but there he is. He's cool. This will not be the last you see of him. Not at all. Firefly. You better not give me any flack for not having the ripcord thing for Firefly, or else the Flak Viper is going to come get you. Okay. You didn't find it funny? I thought it was funny. Well, here he is. He's got this big blue gun. He's got 2 missiles to launch because he's got a dual missile launcher. And I've got a couple of these somewhere in like a 90s bag that I thought went to Jurassic Park. Again, I get a lot of this 90s Joe stuff mixed up and thinking it's Jurassic Park because I don't know anything about Jurassic Park. And I guess evidently I didn't know anything about 90s Joe either. So that's kind of funny. Still, he's green with some of the matching teal and some gray. And it's kind of an interesting, cool figure. I actually think the next version is cooler. This one's more subdued. They repaint him to kind of orangish or reddish down the road. We will see that coming up. There's the Flak Viper version 2 is coming next year. Technically next week. Flak Viper. Now we were looking at Joe's. We were looking at the drug elimination force. Well, who are they eliminating? These guys. This one here is the Headhunter. He's got this cool pinstripe suit. And I got mine as cheap as possible. I think my pinstripe, I don't know. Okay, good. It doesn't go down to the pants. It's just on the upper part. So I was thinking mine got rubbed off somehow. But no, it's just reflecting off this really strange gun he has here. That is interesting, that his gun. He does have some facial hair that's kind of cool. He's got some, I don't know. That's not glasses, is it? It's just kind of like Zorro-looking face mask. He's got a cool hat on and a ponytail that is molded in. It feels a little soft too. But this is a real cool looking figure. And down the road they color him in like the 2000s. But he has to have his troops here. So these are, so he's the head man, and these are head hunters. So that's how that is. So headman, head hunters, and these guys come with this sawed-off shotgun. So they both come with, well, he comes with a sawed-off shotgun and a backpack, and that's it. I believe that's it. The cool thing is, which playing with fire here, you pull this out and you can put his sawed-off shotgun in his backpack. Now I like stuff like that where you could actually put guns and stuff in the backpacks or integrate it with the figure instead of just holding it. But I gotta have him hold it. It's just something about me. I want him to hold it. Plus, if he fell, the grip he has on holding it, well, less chance of losing. This is hard to get that. Like really, these are like, each of these figures are like $30 to $35 figures, which is about average for a figure. But getting that gun, you got to buy them complete. It's like the only way to get it. And this is the drug elimination force. These are the ones that need to get eliminated. Headman and Headhunters. All right, let's take a look at Ninja Force here. And I got to say this, they're not all 100% complete. And I just wanted them to have a weapon in each hand, call it a day. Got them as cheap as I could. Got some of these as cheap as $6 each. Some of them cost, close to 20. But here's a carded, this is the Shadow Ninjas. And they're the same. They come with these sprues. The first ones like this have solid. The Shadow Ninjas have clear weapons. They're all the same. The sprues, I mean, they have a sprue of weapons. Some of them have different weapons, but for the most part, it's very, very similar. So it's not like if I'm missing a weapon or two, I'm not going to worry about it. And this guy comes with a lot, but I'm missing some of it. Anyway, what's a ninja going to do with 6 weapons at once? Well, I guess a ninja could use 6 weapons at once, but this is dice. No dice, and dice and slice are supposed to be like buds that hang out together and wreak havoc together. This is kind of like a bow with some sort of cutting stuff on the ends of it. It's kind of cool. And then he's got an axe to grind. He definitely has an axe to grind. So a pretty cool figure overall. Weird looking thing on his face. His face mask, and it kind of has small strips that come down to cover the lower part of his face. That's so he can still eat, I guess, right? And purple. He has a cool looking figure though. I mean, he's got the purple look to it. Purple wins me over every time. And got little grenades and things on there. I mean, ninja grenades. Then we get into the next one, which is Dojo. And I'm sure he comes with a whole lot more. Another one of these that I had like a name label because I had no idea who he was when I first got him and what year to put him in. My biggest problem was categorizing him in which year, because it doesn't make sense to me what year they came out. He has all these blue weapons. He comes with a whole lot more weapons than this, but as you saw on the sprue, pretty much the same stuff that we see with the rest of the figures. And he's got the rooted hair, so that's kind of cool. And he's got this, so this is weird. Like, he doesn't have it tied around him. It's just kind of connected, and once he's sonic welded together, then it's stuck in there, this ribbon. Now, that's another thing. These figures are sonic welded together, so you cannot actually, you can't take them apart and switch them out if they have broken thumbs or something. So they have this gimmick with them. Each one of them has a gimmick. I think they're all slightly different. Well, I don't have him doing a gimmick at all. So, he didn't have a gimmick. Maybe it's broken. Here's his gimmick. This is Nunchuck. And yes, I do have him with a black sword and a nunchuck. He comes with a whole lot of other stuff too. He's copying Dusty with this whole soft good right there. He does look interesting. He's kind of like ninja, but also military ninja. Working out. That actually makes sense a bit for this squad. A lot of people hate on this Ninja Force. I don't think it's that bad. It's just you can't beat the best, which is Storm Shadow, which we'll see here in a bit. There's Slice. I do like the paint apps that I got on this. He's red and black, but he's got the black dots on him. So That is cool. Oh, let me take my label off of him. And there's his ribbons. He's got a ribbon up here and a ribbon down here. But kind of a cool figure. So you push it down and it goes up. So that's how it is. Only one arm does the gimmick for him. Which you gotta, if you do this, you can get the arm to adjust a bit. So I don't really suggest it. I just do it. And I play with fire. Live life on the edge. My Storm Shadow's not in great shape. He falls over. He was heavily played with. And there's no way to repair him in any way, shape, or form. So it is what it is. At some point, you're just going to have to probably glue these suckers together. His ribbon's all knotted up and dirty. And the ribbon was tied in a knot so that he could hold his sword in there. I'm not going to... Another thing is, I'm super afraid of breaking a thumb. I'm not as worried about the heels on these, but the thumbs, I'm super afraid of breaking thumbs because there's no way to swap the arms around. Anyway, there's Storm Shadow. And the Arctic Storm Shadow. Like the Amazon exclusive they had for classified. T-Bangs! T-Bangs! He's got this double sword looking thing and then a single sword. He's got rooted hair and a ribbon hanging out. Oh, no, just a ribbon. No rooted hair. Okay. It's like this is his mask that is tied onto his head. And he's got kind of a chest plate there and some cool stuff going on for his shin guards. Ninja Force, we'll see it again. We'll see more characters, and we'll see Shadow Force, which is the clear color change repaints. Now for the vehicles, the Barracuda is a one-man sub, kind of like the Imploder, you know, that little sub that went down to the Titanic and imploded. That's what I think of when I see the Barracuda, and they made it in two different color versions, color variations, down the road. Next is the Earthquake, which looks to be a large vehicle, and it looks almost like a bulldozer. It's kind of cool. Giant wheels, some guns, some interesting stuff to it. But 90s vehicles, you can get all these pretty darn cheap. Next is G.I. Joe Headquarters. I actually had this. I thought it was kind of cool, but I wasn't going to display it, so I sold it off and passed it to another collector because I wasn't going to use it. And it's cool. It opens up, and it's kind of like a Fort Carrium in a way, because you can close it up and it can defend itself, and you can open it up and do a whole bunch of features with launching features and all that. We're going to see it, actually, because I have the Shadowloo. Not 100% complete, but it's still pretty close, and you can kind of see sort of what that headquarters is like. The Liquidator, it's a jet. It looks kind of fun in a way. Not 100% sure what all it does, the action features and all that, but it is a cool looking one. Next up is a Parasite, and the Parasite's a pretty decent sized vehicle. You can fit, it accommodates I think 6 or 8 figures, and that's kind of cool. Next is the Patriot. It looks kind of like a 4-tread kind of tank thing. It's got a giant, what looks to be a missile launcher in front, and it can handle a handful of figures on there. Kind of a cool vehicle. Well, okay, none of these are really all that great in the 90s, to tell you the truth. Next is the Rat. The Rat is a one-man, small, what looks to be kind of like a mini hovercraft kind of thing. I never handled that one, so I don't know. Storm Eagle. Storm Eagle looks like one. I kind of think this is one that has electronics in it, and it's a tiny jet. That it's a one-man jet, and I say tiny. It's like half the size of a Sky Striker. It's not as big as like a Conquest or anything. From the pictures, is the way it looks, but it has a handle on the bottom, and I think you can do electronics with it. Eco Warriors. Eco Striker is an AOE Striker, just recolor, and at the top it has a squirt gun on it. I mean, it's that simple and yet that complicated at once. Toxo-Lab is something that a lot of people pay good money for. I think it goes for like $100 for a little playset, tiny little playset. But kind of I get the vibe of some of those early small playsets, and it makes sense. The Desert Apache Copter. Now, I actually had a green version of this they made in like 2005, but this is the tan one. My green one made a lot of noise. It had a really cool kind of feature where you had a grapple that you push the button and it would pull it up. It would pull up your grappling hook. And Yeah, I would just automatically pull that up. But pretty cool looking vehicle. It's got a lot of fun play features that really kind of are quintessentially 90s. And then there's something called Fort America. I don't know anything about Fort America at all. It just looks like another kind of cheap way to get some sort of environmental play things out there. That wraps up the vehicles that we haven't seen. So I certainly hope you enjoyed looking at 1992 Every Figure Made, and we looked at the vehicles I just don't have any in hand. As time goes by, I don't have that many of the vehicles. They're not very expensive though, so if you want to track them down, if you like any of those, and they're pretty cool. But some interesting stuff definitely that we saw here. Let me just think in the comments below, and I look forward to seeing y'all the next 2 weeks to finish off this trip all the way to 1994. Continue to hang around.